hurdles, but really benefited. She actually had to take some time off, about 4 weeks missed of her training from December to January while recovering from a knee injury, but that actually has helped her on the backside. And she's been really motivated too, because the one title she has not won in her career in the Missouri Valley Conference, she clipped a hurdle in the indoor 60 hurdles and did not win the title, and so has been very hungry from not being able to be the MVC indoor champion in that 60-meter hurdle race.
We will see how that factors in this second section. To her left, Celeste Miles of LSU, 13th fastest time in the country. She was the NAIA runner-up in this event at William Carey a year ago, now at the Division I level. Marcia Say in lane 6 to the right of Mehringer was third in the nation a season ago in the 100 hurdles. Say one of 3 in the field who were inside that top 8 a season ago in Eugene. Lane 3 appears to be open, so no Lindsey Johnson of Howard. Top 3 qualifying automatically to the quarterfinals. Remaining 4 would have to wait to see if their time can hold up. And they'll blow that one dead. We saw this happen a couple times yesterday on the men's side. And Kelly, as an athlete, you have to find a way to be able to reset quickly.
You certainly do. There was a lot of false starts actually yesterday on the men's side of things, and you just got to regroup mentally, got to get your breathing calmed down, your heart rate back down. Fortunately, the gun went off for a potential false start right away, so these women only got through about 1 hurdle.
Great look here from our production crew. You see anything?
I mean, it's hard to tell from that angle, but a red card likely means that somebody false started.
And so red card meaning that that athlete will be removed from competition. We've yet to see exactly who that red card was shown to, and it will be to Marcia Say, who was third a year ago in the 100 hurdles, and that certainly has to be incredibly frustrating for her. She'll not be able to get back to Eugene this year.
I mean, it's just devastating if you're an athlete. You've worked so hard to get to this point. You're nearly at the pinnacle of getting and punching your ticket to Eugene, and you don't even get a chance to be able to complete this race.
She had the 19th best time in the country, and now her road to Eugene will end before it even begins here in Lexington. Certainly unfortunate for an athlete that has dominated the MEAC over the last 2 seasons. A couple of wins in the 100 hurdles for her. We started with 8, now down to 6, so half this field will qualify automatically into the quarterfinals. That helps your odds a little bit.
It certainly does. And I mean, the biggest thing right now is you just need to make sure that you are set.
Rachel Mehringer in the center of the track, still in 5. Celeste Miles of LSU is in 4, second fastest qualifier in this section. And a clean start this time, a strong start from Aaliyah Berry, but here's Mehringer up the center of the track. Look at the separation she's created. Miles trying to track her down, but it will be Rachel Mehringer who gets an easy win. 12:72 unofficially for her, just 1/100th of a second off of her lifetime best.
And Mehringer's big goal this year was to break 13 seconds. She's done that now 6 times this season. She had an unbeaten regular season. She's been really working on her start. Actually has even been training with some of the guys at practice to try and continue to improve her times. And a nice, really nice job. After that first hurdle, really started to accelerate very well and create a lot of separation. An okay start, that's something she's still working on, but then really got a burst from the 3rd hurdle on and had a lot of separation from the rest of the field. Look at how efficient her movement is. Gets that trail leg down very quickly.
And just the sheer power that she puts in really stands out in those races. Maringer through into the quarterfinals. Aaliyah Berry got the final spots in the AQ spots in section number 2 as we gear up for this third section, 4 inside the top 30 in the NCAA in this field. Janella Spencer of Ohio State is a returning finalist from a year ago, was runner-up at the Big Ten Outdoors a few weeks ago, has gone under that 13 barrier this year, and certainly has a path to get to the quarters.
Yeah, and she's got the experience. I mean, she's a 2-time national championship qualifier. She was 6th outdoor last year in the championship, and she did not compete this indoor season, though. So she's a little bit more rested than the rest of the field.
Southeastern Conference considered one of the best hurdling conferences in the country, if not the best. And Jocelyn Hamilton of South Carolina has been to 3 straight SEC short hurdle finals. She's gone 12.91 this year and will race out of lane number 6. Alan Spearman in 4, also hailing from the Southeastern Conference. Santana Spearman in 8. 4 out of the 8 in this section, out of the SEC. Time a moment ago from Maringer, 12.72, the fastest that we have seen through the first 2 sections of this event.
You can actually hear the wind out there right now.
Lane 2, or rather lane 3, Gazelle Clayton appears to be vacated. Strong start in the middle of the track from our favorites. Hamilton has the early edge. Those top 3 very tightly bunched. And a win for Janella Spencer. 6th a year ago in Eugene. And a victory here in section number 1, though Jocelyn Hamilton got off to a really nice start.
Spencer, though, did a great job closing this race, really relied on her top end speed, especially over the last 3 to 4 hurdles. So a nice start in the center of your screen by Jocelyn Hamilton, but then watch the way Spencer is able to really tap into her closing speed, that top end speed, and able to just edge at the line.
In for Spencer, the second fastest time that we have seen for athletes through the first 3 sections. Have gone under 13. With section number 4 looming. This one could be very tight at the line. Tony Galloway of UCF will race out of lane number 5. Checking in as the 8th fastest runner in the country, runner-up at the Big 12 Outdoors in this discipline.
Yeah, ran a personal best time at that Big 12 championship. She's a transfer from Albany, originally from Jamaica.
Talked about it a couple times on the men's side yesterday, but transitioning from that northern climate to the southern climate has certainly allowed her to have some big gains this season. A little bit better weather in Florida.
No doubt, especially for training.
So she will race out of lane number 5. In lane number 7, Adaya Brewster of LSU. Galloway, 8th fastest time in the country. Brewster has the 9th fastest time and found herself on the podium at the SEC Outdoors in Auburn a week and a half ago.
On your marks.
Doris Quenu in the field as well for South Florida. 4-time American hurdle champion, running out in lane number 2. Actually, the top 2 finishers at the American Outdoors, Kaylee Elliott and Doris Quenu, in the field here in section number 4. It's a great start for Queno on the outside. Up the center of the track, though, Rukia Omalicia of Kentucky. she will take this section. Again, under 13, 12.96 for the sophomore Wildcat.
Well, Melissa making a statement in this heat, hailing from Hurdle U, and really was able to turn it on. Pretty even at the start. But then watch the way she's just able to really, through that acceleration phase, get it going.
She came in ranked 26th in the country and takes down a field that featured 2 top 10 runners in the nation. 2 sections remain, 6 more AQ spots on the line as we head into section number 3. Heavy Georgia flair, Clemson well represented as well, with Onika Wilson, who was 5th a season ago. Taylor Cox, though, of Georgia, going to run out of lane number 7. Cox has rather, the 6th fastest time in the country this season.
And Cox has really been working on keeping her trail leg tight. Interestingly enough, she was a trained gymnast till about 14 years old. So that's something that certainly plays to her strengths here in the hurdles, that flexibility. Sometimes her trail leg can get a little too long and too wide, so that's something that she's really been working on.
Imagine the gymnastics also helped her with focus in this discipline that demands that. There's her teammate, Chelsea Williams, racing out of lane number 5. Made the final at the SECs in the 100 hurdles, just missed it indoors, but qualified for the NCAA meet.
Yeah, theme that you're really going to see throughout this meet is Georgia has a whole lot of talented freshmen in multiple events.
Yes, they do. Big reason why this program has won the last 2 national titles on the track. Went outdoors a season ago in Eugene, indoors this year. Smith Gilbert has built down in Athens, has been incredibly impressive. Penultimate section here, the 100 hurdles. And a great start in the center. Sanuk Tyler Thompson, but caught a hurdle there, and that's gonna hurt her now. Multiple athletes go down. There was chaos down the stretch of that section. A war of attrition there over those final hurdles.
And that just speaks to how volatile this 100 hurdle race is. If you clip one hurdle, it can completely throw off your entire race. Such a great start for Tyler Thompson, and then just clip that hurdle late. Looked like she was actually going to win the heat at one point. Tremendous start. About a half a second probably ahead of everybody on that first hurdle. And then it clips the hurdle right here, and that allows the rest of the field to recover.
That is the volatile nature of the 100 hurdles. Taylor Cox gets through on the fastest time. Onika Wilson of Clemson, her bid for a 2nd trip to Eugene into the finals in good shape. Top 5 in that previous section all ran season bests in the 100 hurdles as we gear up for the final section and a chance to see the best 100 hurdler in the country. That's Emmy Scales. They call it Hurdle U at Kentucky. So many fantastic hurdlers that have come out of Lexington. Emmy Scales certainly could be the next.
Emmy Scales talked earlier this season that she feels really obligated to continue the legacy of that Hurdle U tradition that Kenny Harrison, Jasmine Camacho Quinn, Sydney McLaughlin Veroni, and Masai Russell were able to really establish here in Lexington. She's got probably the best game face.
She does.
In all of the female hurdles, but she's been working on her speed, getting back to the ground and executing. And what I mean by that is her goal with that trail leg, you want to get it back to the ground as quickly as possible. That's what allows you to have speed between the hurdles.
She's been incredibly locked in this year. 2 SEC Hurdle Championships, tied for the 6th fastest in the world. If anyone can track her down, Riley Hampton might be that woman. The freshman has been fantastic this year, just missed the podium outdoors, and eyeing a trip to her first NCAA quarterfinal outdoors. Camden Bentley of Kentucky in 4 could also factor in. The look on Emmy Scales' face has not changed once.
She's locked in.
Staring down, visualizing this race. Final 3 spots on the line. Into the final. To get through on time, you would need to be better than 13:26. Right now, South Florida's Doris Queno on the bubble. Scales, the collegiate leader, racing in lane 6. And a slower start for Scales, but starting to build a head of steam here as they work into the middle of this race. Hampton nearly stride for stride with her. She goes down, and Emmy Scales will take the section. Heartbreak there for Riley Hampton, who was nearly stride for stride with the collegiate leader.
Oh, that's just so devastating for that to happen to Riley Hampton. Was running such an amazing race too. But Scales, you saw really, again, has really been working on her speed between the hurdles. You saw that really come on midway through the race.
You could see Hampton really banged up there, did get up and walking across the finish line. She will be credited as a finisher in this event. Kentucky going 1 and 2. Brianna Campbell taking advantage. She gets the final AQ spot.
And a great start initially too from Georgia and Riley Hampton. And then just kind of like what we saw in the heat before, it's about that 3rd hurdle from the finish, just clips it and comes down at an awkward angle. Not able to recover.
Kelly, we talk a lot about Emmy Scales, and what we just saw there is what has made her year so incredibly impressive, her ability to be locked in every time she steps up to the line.
Well, and that's what it takes. I mean, you've had some great examples come before you in Lexington. There's an expectation here. The reputation as Hurdle U, so you're getting world-class training specifically in this event.
Well, Kentucky puts 3 in the top 8. The collegiate in this first section, 2 of the top 3 in the NCAA this year are in the field. They will race in sections 2 and 3. In this section, Tia Wilson of Florida checking in as the favorite, top 10 in the country this year. Put her up on the podium at SECs.
Wilson has incredible range, and what's interesting is she was actually going to dip her toe in the water in the 10K this year. It wasn't quite ready for that, so they shifted their focus to the 5,000, but all of a sudden she started showing really surprising ability to finish in the 15. So this has kind of been by accident that she has continued to run the 1500 because she's been running so well in this event.
They'll break to that pole position quickly. Anaya Mosley of Ohio State could factor in heavily. Top 5 in this first of 4 sections will advance automatically to the quarterfinals coming up on Saturday evening here in Lexington.
And Mosley, an incredible story as well. She missed most of the 2025 indoor season and the cross country season. She had a femur fracture, so has bounced back from that, has 5 program records.
She's She's faced a ton of adversity this season. Early leader, Michaela Cheney of Army.
So this first 300 meters is all about just getting positioning, making sure that you are not boxed in.
Tend early on in these first rounds to not see the best times that you will see from these athletes. More about positioning and being inside that top 5 as you look to advance to Saturday.
Especially if you have really elite closing speed, you're not as concerned about getting out into the front of the pack and leading this race. You're trying to conserve as much energy as possible. And then you're going to see a lot of these top runners in this field are going to start making their moves with about 300 to 400 meters to go.
Allie Zeeland in the field for Liberty, a 3-time Conference USA champion this year as a sophomore. Was a finalist indoors in the 3K, so certainly she'll have plenty of stamina down the stretch of this race.
Yeah, that 3K strength really becomes a factor in the 1500, especially when you get to the last 400 meters and really have to tap into that closing speed. That's when you dig down and find it. Top 5 from each heat are going to advance, plus the next 4 times to the quarterfinals.
24 total advancing over the 4 sections. Really want to put yourself in that top 5 though. Take some of the intrigue, maybe the weight out of things. Kelly, you talked about those late kicks. When do you start to see that develop in the 1500?
It really depends how good your foot speed is. If you have excellent closing speed and amazing kick, then you're probably not tapping into that kick until anywhere from 150 meters to 200 meters to go, maybe even 100 meters to go. But if you have good closing speed, but not the best in the field, you need to start making your move a little bit earlier, about 400 meters out, no less than 300 meters out.
We're seeing that move right now from Tia Wilson, who came in with the 7th best time in the country. Told you she was on the podium.
And you're going to see this with a lot of Florida's distance runners. This is a theme that they make their move a little bit earlier in races, take control of things. They just buy their time early in races. And one thing I found really fascinating when I talked to the distance coach Palmer is that they really study a lot of film to break down tactically the strategy for running championship races like this.
Tia Wilson came in as the favorite. She's put herself in a great spot as that lead pack of 6 has developed. Mentioned Allie Zeeland, who came in with the 33rd fastest time in the country, 3rd best in this heat. She's in that front 6.
And that's exactly what you have to do, is you have to cover the move that the front pack is making, especially going to that last 400 meters.
You mentioned Anaya Mosley right up at the front alongside Wilson of Florida. Princeton's Hannah Riggins covering that move, running in that 3rd spot as they head in to these final turns.
Mosley benefits because she has good 800 meter speed, has spent a lot of her career running a lot of 800s.
She'll have the lead as we head into the final 100. Tia Wilson on her left hip, probably content to finish 2nd. These top 5 are going to advance automatically, and the 3 favorites are going to go 1, 2, and 3.
Now the advantage you have if you're running in one of the latter 3 heats is that you know the time. Obviously if you're in the top 5, you automatically advance to the next round, but you know the time that you have to beat to be one of those 4 time qualifiers.
Always the best of spots to be that 6th qualifier. That was Gretchen Farley in this first section for 11:88. She will have to wait over the remaining sections to see if that time will hold up. Mosley, Wilson, Zeeland going 1 through 3.
Mosley really trying to rely on that 800 meter speed that she has. And then you just see how taxing this 1500 meter is.
3/4 laps around this
and
track.
Some of this too, you know, you have to factor, it's a hot day out.
It is.
I mean, she trains in Ohio, not that, it certainly gets hot in Ohio too, but it's a different level of heat.
You and I were out at the track complex yesterday, and Kelly, you live down in South Florida, and you felt like it was hot here in Lexington.
Yeah, I do think it's hot.
2nd section of this event on the way. A chance to see the second best collegiate 1,500 meter runner this season in Sama Al-Badra of South Carolina. Made it to the final last year, was 10th. This year, second best time in the country.
And she falls in that 1% of special athlete, says her coach. Just also impressive range. Back-to-back SEC 1,500 meter champ.
She's won 3 straight at that mile 1,500 meter distance. They run the mile indoors, 1,500 meters outdoors. She was incredibly impressive at the SEC final in the women's 1,500 meters and finds herself towards the front alongside Elizabeth Whaley of Wake Forest.
And you're going to notice, and this is sort of Al-Badra style, she doesn't mind leading at all. This is sort of her signature, making sure that she's right. If she's not leading the field, she's right up there at the front of it.
Don't sleep on Millicent Wafula of Alabama, 25th fastest time in the country. She scored in each of the last 2 SEC finals at this distance.
And one thing to keep in mind with Wafula, she was a little bit sick at the SEC meet. She hadn't broken 420 before she got to Alabama in January. Now her PR is 409, so has dropped considerable time. And Coach Waters really felt like her best is still ahead of her. She's got amazing strength. He said she buffers lactic acid really well, and lactic acid, when you especially a distance runner, that's something that really builds up in your legs.
Of exertion for these athletes across this 1,500 meter race. 3/4 laps around this track.
The other thing you're going to want to watch with Wafula, because she's a little bit taller runner, she's very well positioned on the outside. You want to make sure that you're not boxed in on the inside, you're not in the middle of a pack, because when you're taller, it can become a really big tripping hazard.
Kelly, you remember that from your running career. Maybe elbows even become a little pointier too, huh?
They do. I might have been not accused of throwing an elbow in my day, but my elbow just naturally hit people higher in the chest area and the shoulders just because of how tall I was. So
2 laps remain here in the 1,500 meters. Coming across in 1:58.
Al-Badra's just biding her time though, and this is exactly what you have to do in a prelim race like this. You let somebody else lead and do the work, and then you just sit on the shoulder.
And it helps if you're someone like Al-Badra and you look in your time, your season best time this year, 7 seconds faster than anyone else in this field.
And it just speaks to the incredible range that she has. This is Al-Badra is somebody that obviously she has elite speed, but she was 7th indoor nationally in the 3,000 meter. She was the the Southeast region cross country champion. So she can span all sorts of distances and have success at all the levels.
Charlotte Tompkinson, who is the Big East champion in the indoor mile in the field as well, running for Georgetown. Right now having to work in the middle of a crowd. Tightly bunched here as they get the bell lap in this second section. A little bit more methodical here in this second section than we saw in the first.
Very tactical race. You're going to see the screws are going to start to turn here with 300 to go. If you're going to make your move, I like to see the move on the backstretch, because then you are not running extra on the curve.
Harvard's Dylan McElhenney, the freshman, finds herself stride for stride with one of the best in the country. As the top 5 have separated here with about 150 meters to go. Badra, the SEC champion in the 1,500 meters.
But look at how relaxed she looks at the front.
Building some separation here. Wafula of Alabama making her move into second. Perhaps thinking about first. Lean at the line. Incredibly close, it doesn't matter. The top 5 will advance automatically into the quarterfinals. Was a faster of the first 2 sections. Al-Badra gets the win by 1/100th of a second. McElhaney, the final automatic qualifying spot, and Stella Kerms will have to wait to see if that time holds up.
But those 5 very smartly positioned to make sure that they are automatically qualified in. Also helps when you have the #1 seed in your heat to push the time a little bit.
It does. As we move to section number 3, you see some great competitors in this field right now. 3 inside the top 30 of the country, including the favorite in this section who you saw a moment ago, running for NC State wearing hip number 7, that's Sadie Engelhardt. She's run 4:03 this season, was the runner-up outdoors, been known as an incredible cross-country runner in her career as well.
Yeah, and she's just a freshman. That's the scary thing for the rest of the field. She's had a phenomenal freshman season. She was 3rd indoors at the national championship in the mile. She won ACC in the Indoor Freshman of the Year award. She's made her impact felt very quickly. And she's also really focused this track season on learning to race in different ways. You know, when you come in from high school, you're used to being the best at your level, usually at the best in your state. And so you pretty much are used to running from the front, but that's a different story once you get to the collegiate level. Ooh.
So they're going to reset this 3rd section. Haven't mentioned Mariawaka of Tennessee, 18th fastest in the country this year. She's been in the finals of both the 1,500 meters outdoors at the SCC as well as the mile indoors. This time a clean start. It's always interesting to see the different strategies that are employed in these sections. We saw that first section kind of break away with about 600 meters to go. Those top 2 more tightly bunched in the previous section. Still TBD here in section number 3.
And so much of the strategy, not only does it depend on what your foot speed is, it also depends on what year you are in college. You know, if you're a senior, you have more wiggle room because you have so many reps in your toolbox and you've been able to race so many different ways. But when you're a freshman, you're a lot greener. You're still trying to play around with what works, what doesn't work, especially at these championship meets.
Kentucky's freshman, Doraicha Mensari-Iso, leading at the front. Kelly, if you're an athlete, you're racing on your home track. Is that an advantage?
Yes.
Why?
Because you train on it every day. So, you know, every track is different. There's sweet spots on every track. And there's just, for her, there's a comfort level to just even, we talked about that it's a hot day right now. You know, it's almost 6:45 at night, but it's still fairly hot out. So you're used to the climate here, which can also be a major factor.
We saw Sadie Engelhardt ease into this race. Didn't appear to be content with the pace early, and she certainly started to turn it up a notch. Of Tennessee in that mix as well. At the front, there's some pushing and shoving taking place on the outside of that track. They go 3 wide through turn 3.
And that's the danger when you have a slower tactical race, is you got a lot of traffic that you have to deal with, especially if you're in the middle of that pack.
You saw earlier sections come through in about 1:58. That was a bit slower there, around 2:04, 2:05. Mensari-Iso on that left hip of the favorite in this section, Sadie Engelhardt, who's run the 3rd fastest time in the country this year.
Engelhardt was the runner-up at the ACC championships in the 1,500 meter.
If memory serves, we talked about Allie Zeeland in that first section. Her and Engelhardt during their high school careers traded the high school record in this event multiple times.
Nationally.
Story goes, Zeeland broke it in the section ahead of Engelhardt, and then Engelhardt, who was a year younger, broke it about 15 minutes later. It's always nice to hold a record for about 15 minutes, right?
I mean, I'd like to hold it a little bit longer than 15 minutes, but...
I've never held a record, so 15 minutes would be
but
nice.
But as they say, records are made to be broken.
That's fair. We've certainly seen a lot of them collegiately this year as the Shoe technology and other elements continue to improve in this sport. Final lap of this third section. Sadie Engelhardt appears to be in control as they head into that final back stretch.
Well, and one of the strengths that Sadie Engelhardt has in her racing is her closing speed. So she's picked this up considerably. Everybody else now has to try and cover.
Villanova's Rosie Shea trying to stay attached in that front pack of 5. Awaka of Tennessee in the mix. So is Mansari Isso of Kentucky. Auburn's Camilla Gomes in that front 5 as well. Down the home stretch they come, final 100 meters of this third section. Engelhardt building a little bit of separation, not exerting herself fully. She's gonna come across about 5 seconds slower than Albadra, who we saw race in an earlier section. An easy race there for Engelhardt, secures her spot in the quarters.
Very interested to see how on Saturday it all shakes out in the 1500, because it's going to be a very competitive field, especially at the front.
Seuss Altorf on the outside looking in at the moment.
So Engelhardt just kind of cruising in. Looks like she's just on a training run.
Based on the time of that section, outside of the top 5, you're probably not getting in.
Very true.
Bubble time right now, 4:13.94. That's Ellie Kruger of Kentucky. 1 section remaining in the women's 1500 meters. 3 inside the top 35 in the country. Talked about the Florida distance program, and Claire Stegall, certainly one of the best in that program, 3rd outdoors in the 1500 meter event.
Stegall, just a freshman, but she has so much poise. She just does not get rattled. There's an eagerness to her. She's very self-motivated. Coach Palmer used the word unflappable to describe her. And they spent a lot of time between the SEC championships and today watching video. So watching video of her races, going over situational stuff, working on tactics of where she needs to be at particular points in the race.
We saw her teammate, Tia Wilson, who's 4 years ahead of her, finished 2nd in that opening section, and now Stegall with a chance to bookend this for the Gators. Tatum David in the field for Virginia, was 3rd at the ACC Outdoors in the 1500 meters, also took 6th in the 5K. Will only compete at the 1500 meter distance here in Lexington this weekend.
But that 5K strength will really come into play later in this 1500 meter as it goes on.
Imogen Gardner of Boston College just missed the podium at the ACCs. Florida State, Nicole Dyan leading the field for the moment.
And if you're a casual track fan, you might wonder, you know, when you are the favorite in a heat, why are you not out running at the very front? And that's just a tactical thing. You're trying to conserve as much energy as possible. You're typically leaning on your closing speed, and you're letting other people do the work for you.
And it's worth mentioning that this, for some of these athletes, could be the first of 4 times they'll run the 1500 meters outdoors here in the postseason. It's the first round, the quarterfinals coming up on Saturday, then the semifinals in Eugene, and ultimately the final of the 1500 meters. Kelly, some coaches we've talked to at times have talked about how many athletes are in the field. There's 48 in the 15 in each one of these events. Really, do you believe that's the right number?
Yeah, I think it's a good number. I think I love that you get a lot of people opportunities to get to this championship level, and then you really have to rise to the occasion. You know, we've heard so many coaches, and this is what I'm talking about when you have a slow tactical race like this. If you get into heavy traffic, if you're in the middle of that pack, that can happen where somebody takes a spill, and a lot of times it's not even your fault. You just might get clipped by a spike.
It appeared to be Melissa Riggins of Georgetown that went down in the heap. She'll try to work her way back into this field. Still has time with about 600 meters to go.
She's doing a nice job of trying to close that gap.
Claire Stegall, the pre-race favorite, creating some separation, and here's another early move from a Florida Gator.
And that's what you're typically going to see, a little bit earlier moves than what you might see from other schools. But it also speaks to the confidence that Claire Stegall has as a freshman, the poise.
You have to imagine that early move could benefit some of the people a little bit farther down in this section. Perhaps she could pull them in on time. She has created some great separation with 1 lap to go. Look at how splintered that field has gotten. Claire Stegall trying to leave no question in this 4th section.
There's just a guttiness to Claire Stegall. If you think back to the SEC meet, she'd ran the 1500 at finals, and then she came back and was in the 800 meter finals, and she was in dead last for a lot of that race, and then closed extremely well the last 300 meters and ended up middle of the pack.
Tatum David of Virginia running in that 2nd spot. Boston College's Imogen Gardner running in 3rd. There's some distance to Duke's Stephanie Moss as they make their way down this home stretch. Another easy run for a Florida Gator. Claire Stegall will take this 4th and final section. Virginia's Tatum David comes across in 2nd.
So heat number 2 was the fastest heat that
yes,
we
it
saw.
was. Claire Stegall goes for 13:15. And outside of the top 5, no one will qualify on time in this 4th and final section.
This is the danger because so many of these prelim heats are very tactical. It's a slower pace. You get into heavy traffic, you know, you clip somebody, you get clipped with somebody's spike, or their leg ends up taking you down. A lot of times it's not even your own fault. And then Stegall just looks so relaxed, executed her race plan to absolute perfection.
So an easy win. Florida will place a pair into the quarterfinals. Selma Albadra, who'd run the 2nd fastest time in the country this year, has the fastest qualifying time in the 1st round of the 1500 meters here in Lexington. Look at the complete times. Mentioned Albadra of South Carolina. Wafula ran a really nice race today. Ellie Kruger of Kentucky will qualify on time. Kylie Cubison getting that final AQ spot into the championship. Camilla Gomes of Auburn.
Be curious about one thing that they are working on with her at Georgia is they would like her start to be a little bit better. Sometimes she rushes a little bit out of it into the drive phase. Coach actually thinks that her best event is the 100. Adeja would tell you that she likes the 200 meter and thinks that's her best event right now.
Well, Kelly, you challenged our viewers to get their popcorn ready, and here's a reason why in this 1st section. Next to her is Jamesia Ford, who was the runner-up in the 100 meters a season ago, though she's focused primarily on the 200 meters this season, where she's a favorite to win the national championship.
Yeah, and this will be a fun to watch. They just saw each other at the SEC meet.
And you mentioned Shanice Walker, who's run the 2nd fastest time in the world this season. She's looming in section number 3. 4 out of the top 6 in the 100 meters in the country this year are in the field over these next 6 sections here in Lexington. 2 of the 3 from the podium a season ago, including Jamesia Ford of South Carolina, who will race out of lane number 5.
You're going to want to pay attention to Ford start. That's an area that she also has been working on improving. She's got great top end speed.
Natalia Hankson of LSU could factor in 4. Top 3 will qualify automatically into the quarterfinals on Saturday. Next 6 fastest times over the 6 sections will get through as well. A total of 24 athletes will advance into the quarterfinals coming up on Saturday evening. And one quick note, Kelly Ufudiyama of East Carolina not competing in the competition after injuring herself at the American Outdoors. And look at Hodge go. She got a fantastic start. Hankson of LSU running a great race, so is Ford. Those 3 are going to go 1, 2, 3, but Adaja Hodge, who's run the fastest time in the world this year, looking incredibly smooth, going 10:86 to open up this event.
Keep in mind, Hodge is just a freshman, so you're going to see a lot more of her over the next 3 to 4 years. The start is something she's been working so hard on, not rushing out of the block into that lift phase. And then she just turns into that top end speed, which she is elite at.
Ran that in with a slight tailwind. Talked about her having run the fastest time in the world. Kelly, that was just the 3rd fastest time in the world. She has 2 of the top 3 marks
well, it was
this
crazy,
season.
3rd fastest, but she eased up a lot there
She
at
did.
the line, before the line.
Certainly could bode well for Saturday's quarterfinals and deeper into the postseason run for her. Second section is where we introduce you to 8 new athletes, including Alicia Burnett of Ole Miss. 6th fastest time in the country. She was the runner-up to Adaja Hodge at the SEC Outdoors.
And she's the school record holder in the 60 meter at Ole Miss. It was 4th indoors nationally in the 60 meter. So the shorter the sprint, the better she is. Transferred in from Mizzou.
Next to her, Lauren Jarrett of Tennessee. Joined the program this year from Wisconsin Lacrosse, where she was Division III national champion. Actually, she is a 7-time Division III national champion, and now running for the Volunteers. She'll race out of lane number 4.
We've actually seen a lot of athletes that, whether they come from Division II or Division III, that have transferred into schools in the SEC and have found immediate success.
Another note on that performance from Hodge a moment ago, that set a new facility record, breaking the previous mark held by Mackenzie Long that was set at the East Regional back in 2024 when it was here in Lexington. Burnett has the fastest qualifying time in this section. She's going to race out of lane number 5. And Lauren Jarrett is in 4. And a really nice start on the outside of the track by Lucy Mae Sleeman, but here come the favorites in the center. Step for step are Jarrett and Burnett. And at the line, it will be Alicia Burnett who takes this section. They go 11:24. She gets the win in section number 2 as the top 3 qualify automatically. Lucy Mae Sleeman, who got that really nice start for Florida State, finds herself in the top 3.
Yeah, really pushing the rest of the field. Initially just exploded out of those blocks.
And that 11:35 for Sleeman is a lifetime best.
You'd watch lane number 8 just quickly get out of the blocks. Within center of your screen, lane number 5 from Ole Miss, Alicia Burnett, able to tap into that top end speed.
Mark for Burnett, the 4th fastest that we have seen so far today. In the season best time for Sleeman. 3rd section of 6. And plenty of speed in this section. 2 returning from the finals a year ago. One of those is Shanice Walker who has run the second fastest time in the country this year. She's dominated the ACC during her career.
Second fastest woman in the world currently. She was the national indoor champion in the 60 meter. Swept the 100 and 200 at the ACC championships outdoors. She started her career at Lincoln though, and really worked this fall on changing the way that she does her acceleration. So things like your strength to body weight ratio, the ability to put more force into the track. And Florida State uses a lot of technology in their training as well. So Coach Kane, really working with her. She's improved leaps and bounds since October, but she's really done a better job now since training with them of really understanding her acceleration, her strength, and her speed better.
That sprint unit at Florida State, incredibly respected in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Saw a moment ago, Tima Godbless mentioned there was 2 of the 3 podium finishers from last year's 100-meter final in Eugene. She is the second, finished 3rd in that event, has run 11:08 this season. 3-time NCAA finalist in her career, twice in the 100 meters. You can hear the wind whipping a little bit in the venue, which is why they're running these events on the back stretch of the track as opposed to that front stretch near the grandstands.
And certainly as a sprinter, you don't mind a little tailwind.
Certainly not, especially a wind legal one.
Yes.
Deja Hodge certainly took advantage of that to run the 3rd fastest time in the world this year in section number 1, 10:86. That's the top mark through the first 2 sections.
So Walker in lane 4, you're going to really want to watch her from about 20 to 50 meters. That's her signature, the signature part of her race.
Walker's going to have a little bit of work to do, but here's the center of that race where she's so good. Stride for stride on the outside with Rain Redmond. Too close to call at the line. Looked like Tima Godbless might have gotten inside that top 3. And it will be Carter who wins 11:08 in an upset over Shanice Walker, who runs 11:15. And it actually will be Dana Wilson who gets that 3rd spot. Godbless had a disappointing performance at 11:23, although that's still good for the 6th fastest time.
Yeah, watch the inside lane, lane number 2. This is a tremendous job of really, Florida State, we mentioned Shanice Walker, really good from 20 to 50 meters, but watch the top end speed come out on the outside lane 2.
Second fastest of the 2 sections there. The top 4 all inside that top 7 so far through 3 sections. We move to section number 4. Gabby Matthews of Florida is the reigning SEC champion in this event, and that's certainly something to be proud of.
Gabby Matthews made a statement, we should say, at SEC's. Came into the championship ranked 14th and shocked the rest of the field for the Gators' first 100-meter title since 2016. But Coach Shear said he saw that run coming, the ability to go sub 11 seconds.
Much like we talked about with South Carolina's Demesia Ford early, she's known more as a 200-meter runner, but that 100-meter speed greatly improved this year. Here's Alexis Brown of South Carolina, former Division II champion of the 100 and 200 when she was at Lenore Ryan. Off of a 3rd place finish at the SEC Outdoor Meet.
But just another example of a sprinter that has come in from the D2, D3 level and has found pretty quick success.
Just goes to show that you can be great wherever your feet are planted. 4th section of the 100 meters on the way. 9 spots secured already to Eugene. The next 3 will happen momentarily. sleep on DeAndronique Gaines of Florida A&M in the center of the track in 5. And they're going to blow that one dead. A very obvious false start.
Yes.
Tell exactly which lane that was in.
Looks like it was maybe lane 7. Nope, even 6, maybe 6. Hard to tell from that angle.
It did appear to be 6. That would be Jade Brown of Florida, who came in with the 35th fastest time in the country. That one of the more obvious false starts that we have seen over these first 2 days.
Yeah, very obvious. Definitely lane 6. And it was an early false start too.
So Jade Brown's competition is going to come to an end here in Lexington. Former NCAA semifinalist in the 100 meters when she was at Arizona. And her attempt to get back to Eugene ends here in the first round by way of the false start. Final preparations taking place for this 4th of 6 sections. Gabby Matthews, 3rd from the bottom of your screen. And look at Matthews get into that top end speed. She has blown up this field, and the SEC champion in the 100 is going to cruise to an easy win here in section number 4.
Coach Holloway, if you spend any time talking to him, he talks about he doesn't necessarily believe in the dry phase. They like to refer to it as the acceleration phase. And Gabby Matthews' acceleration phase was spot on there.
She goes 11:08, slight tailwind.
Got off to a really nice start. And then watch the lift here. Does a great job through this acceleration phase, and then just the cruise control is on for the rest of this race. One other interesting note about Gabby Matthews is when she came in from Ole Miss, she was actually a finalist in the 400 hurdles 2 years ago.
Just an incredible athlete. She'll have the 2nd fastest qualifying time through 4 sections. Only Anaja Hodge, who set the facility record in the first section with a better time. Here's a look at the participants in section number 5. Kayla Jackson comes in with the 12th best time in the country this year at 11:03. Scored a point for her team at the SEC Outdoors. That's certainly been something she's been known to do throughout her star-studded career.
Kayla Jackson has been one of the most consistent performers at the championships throughout the course of her career. She scored almost 50 points in NCAA championships and 11 different times in her career. Now, she also, what's unique is she has battled type 1 diabetes, so she has been up and down at different points in her career. There's times in meets where her blood sugar drops too low, and it affects how she competes. So she's really the definition of a true warrior.
She's been someone that Carol Smith-Gilbert and this team know they can rely on at this time of the year. Centeria James of South Carolina going to race in the lane next to her, has run 11:04 this year, has scored 3 times at SEC meets this year. Last year, she was a qualifier in both the 100 and the 200. You'll see her again in the 200 meters later on today.
Georgia and South Carolina, though, could have a ton of their sprinters in this 100 final.
They certainly could. That could bode well for a really fast quarterfinal on Saturday. Hard not to get excited thinking about that if you're a fan of this sport. James third from the bottom. Kayla Jackson is fourth. Next to her in lane 5. And it's Kayla Jackson of Georgia who's gotten out like a missile. Trying to close on her is James. This could be incredibly tight at the line. It was indeed. Jackson got the better start. James finished better. And it was too close to call here in this 5th section. And it will be Jackson, 1/100th of a second, as Nia Adim of Duke ends up in 3rd.
Well, we spoke to Georgia coach Carol Smith-Gilbert earlier this week. You know, we asked her about, because so many of her sprinters have great starts, and she joked with us, she goes, well, it's funny you say that, because I actually think we don't have, you know, that we really need to work on our starts more. But this is a tremendous start from Kayla Jackson, just exploding out of the blocks and then trying to hang on through the top end speed as she's being really pushed at the line.
You don't become a 2-time national championship winning program without a relentless pursuit of perfection, and certainly that's what this Georgia program has been known for. And they've got some incredible facilities down in Athens, newly opened this season.
Really a world-class program, and now they have the facilities to match it.
6th and final section here in the women's 100 meters. Shanti Jackson of LSU will race out of lane number 5. She has gone under 11 this year, was a runner-up outdoors to Hodge, who we saw set the facility record back in section 1.
Coach Dennis Shaver actually recruited Shanti Jackson out of high school, did not end up signing with LSU, ended up going to Arkansas, but then she had some knee trouble at Arkansas, and so Coach Shaver has been very patient with her, getting her back to 100%. She hasn't run very many 100 meters this season, but that actually could work to her benefit now as you go into championship season.
Shaver said he always had a great relationship with her father. They stayed in touch over the years during her career. She went into the transfer portal. She chose LSU and now finds herself as one of the best in the sport. Kaya Epps of Cincinnati comes in with the 20th fastest time in the country. She was the Big 12 champion in this 100-meter race. Anaya Kitt of Clemson had a really nice ACCs as well, where she was top 5 in both the 100 and 200. Speaking of Kitt, she ran that second leg of the Clemson 4x100 that won the championship. Scored a lot of points for the Tigers. And a really nice start for Jackson. Next to her is Epps. Jackson, though, creating a little bit of separation. And it will be Jackson who's going to win this one easily. Jania Bowman of Indiana State running a nice race. A strong win for Jackson as Kitt comes in 2nd, Epps in 3rd, and Ella Cooper sits in 4th place.
And we've seen of the sprinters that are advancing to the quarterfinals, so many good starts have been able to set them up in this 100 meters. Shanti Jackson, good start there. She's very good through the acceleration phase, but her top end speed is exceptional, and that's where she was really able to create separation in this race. What's scary too is Coach Shaver says that because they haven't been able to train her as much as they would have liked because of that knee injury that she was coming in from, she hasn't come close to reaching her potential yet.
Not as a lot of surprises in this. She's put up the 13th best mark in the country, just missed out on a podium down on the Plains a week and a half ago.
This is an absolutely loaded 400-meter field. Kentucky's coach Lonnie Green said this will probably be the fastest NCAA final 400 in the history of the event when they get to Eugene.
We're ready to run.
You will probably need to go under 49 low, perhaps, to win the national championship this year.
The NCAA final, you are going to have to probably go 50.20.
Incredible. 8 of the top 15 in the country are in the women's 400 meters for for these next 6 sections.
To give you perspective, the 12th fastest time right now has run 50.8.
First of 6 sections, top 3 will advance automatically.
Set.
Not a great start for Valcourt.
She will have some work to do as they head into that back stretch. Running in the center of your screen, she is a 4-time NCAA qualifier in the 400 meters.
Starting to really work that back stretch, though.
She's broken up that stagger. Quincy Penn of Florida is on her right hip as they make their way down this home stretch. Valcourt has the lead by a stride or 2 over Quincy Penn. Those two have separated themselves from the field. Kennedy Burks eyeing a 3rd place finish all the way down in lane number 2. She will get it. Valcourt goes 1, Penn 2. And LSU's Kennedy Burks will finish in 3rd in this first section to secure the automatic qualifying spot.
And that is a season best for Valcourt. Came in having ran 50.86.
That'll put her inside the top 10 in the NCAA.
But Valcourt, where she was able to really pull away, the last 200, she did a tremendous job of working that last 200, got off to a little bit of a slow start in this race.
50-57, a new lifetime best. 3 out of the top 5 in that section running lifetime bests, including Kennedy Burks, who secures that Big Q qualifying spot for 3rd. Showed you some women's field events that took place earlier today. The men took the field yesterday, and plenty of great throws in that event. Jordan Davis, Nick Reynolds, the top 2. It only took each of them 1 throw to secure the top spots on the podium here at the first round. They advance automatically to Eugene. A couple of huge throws. 4 of the top 5 from the Southeastern Conference in the javelin. Second section of the women's 400 on the way here in Lexington. 2 of the top 15 runners in the country are in this field. Elijah Bradley is one of them. 15th fastest mark this year, although she was in the final of the SEC Outdoors, DNF'd. Good to see her back out here.
Coming off a season best 51.15.
Hannah Douglas in lane number 6 as well for Kentucky, has gone 50-81 this year. She was on the podium.
Her strength is her finish. She closes extremely well. So she's gonna have to really engage in the first part of this race.
That podium during the indoor season was 7th outdoors in the 400 meters.
Coach Lonnie Green really talked about that she has to use this race to set herself up for Eugene, needs to be in a top 3 situation. First of all, she needs to get to the quarterfinals, but from the quarters, you want to be in the top 3 so you can get a good lane when you get to Eugene.
Kentucky trying to push 2 into the quarterfinals here on their home track. Douglas in 6, Bradley in 5.
Set.
Fairly even start across the board here in this second section. Mr. Joseph of Tennessee's running a nice race in lane 8 early. Douglas and Bradley of Kentucky with some work to do.
Joseph has done a nice job really quickly making up the stagger.
And Douglas of Kentucky having the better of the start of the 2 Wildcats here. going to go nearly 3 wide down this home stretch. Here comes Douglas in lane number 6. Bradley displaying that late speed. But no one's going to catch Esther Joseph of Tennessee. Came in with the 41st best mark in the country. She will win section number 2 and secure that AQ spot into the quarterfinals on Saturday.
Season best for Esther Joseph.
We're seeing some fast times, Kelly.
We certainly are.
Joseph going 51.05. Kentucky has 2 in that top 3. Fagan of Cincinnati will have to wait to see if that time will hold up.
We mentioned how really from the entire backstretch on how strong Esther Joseph looked, able to hold off the rest of the field, especially her fellow SEC runners from Kentucky.
2 sections now complete here in the 400 meters as these fans who made their way to Lexington await the 3rd section. While we wait, we take a look back at the men's hammer event that took place yesterday. This was a little bit of a surprise. Seamus Molaski of Purdue came in with the 10th best mark in the East region. He finishes 2nd in the hammer throw discipline. And Jeremiah Nubby of Virginia with a winning throw. Virginia going 1, 3, and 4 in the men's hammer throw yesterday. They've been known for their throwing program for quite some time. So those are the 12 who are heading through to Eugene. A total of 24 will compete for the championship in the men's hammer. 3rd section on the way here in the women's 400 meters. That gives us our first look at a top 10 runner in the country this year in the 400 meters. Sydney Segala, who will race out of lane number 7 for Boston College. She's the champion from the ACC this season outdoors.
Not only is Sydney Segala the ACC champ, but she also was able, for the first time ever, to bring the 400-meter title back to BC.
She had a big performance in Louisville across the state a week and a half ago. Shanna Dwyer could be a factor in 6. He's the reigning Southland champion indoors and outdoors. Also did the same in the American a year ago when she was running at South Florida, now at Northwestern State. A nice start to this race from Sydney Segala in 7 as she makes some inroads through the first 100.
Yeah, quickly approaching that stagger. She already has the school record for Boston College in the 400 meter. And that personal best at ACCs.
Kayla Simpson maintaining that lead out in lane number 9 for the moment as they make their way into this final curve. Win by Rewa in the mix. But it will be Sydney Segala who will finish with an easy win here in heat number 3. Goes 50-79. Rewa of Georgia will finish in 3rd to secure the AQ spot. Much like we expected in that 3rd section, those top 3 will advance to the quarterfinals.
Segala really tapping into that closing speed, the last 50 meters, digging down, finding that strength. Still good knee drive, keeping those shoulders and arms relaxed.
Halfway through the women's 400 meters as they set up for this 4th section, and we take a look back at pole vault from yesterday. This was a really great competition, Kelly, and if you want a great reaction, watch this one. He had the front flip and then could not believe that he was the 2nd best qualifier. Maddox Ham wins this event. Got a number of athletes tied at the top, but Ham wins it on misses over Jason Oliveira. Matthew Gray came in as the favorite. He finishes in fourth. Those are the 12 heading to Eugene in the men's pole vault. Guaranteed to be the highest above the track out in Eugene. There's the fourth section and a chance to see the fastest 400-meter runner in the world. That's Dejanay Oakley. This season was second a year ago. This year she's run the fastest time in the world.
Oakley also the national champion indoors in the 400 meter, the SEC champion both outdoors and indoors in the 400. Has great speed. You're gonna see she runs a very good first 200 of this 400, and now she's been able to really learn to finish.
She was second at the Jamaican Championships last June, a semi-finalist at the World Championships in September, and a three-time podium finisher in her NCAA career in this discipline. Anya Favor of Southeast Louisiana will race next to her in 7. She's been on 4 straight podiums in the Southland Conference. Oakley, the best in the world this year at the 400 meters. Has gotten off to a nice start through this first 100.
A very strong first 200, that's where she's at her best, but has been able to do a little bit of some longer workouts that have really helped her finishing ability. Also benefits, she trains with Aaliyah Butler, the 2025 NCAA champ.
And Butler has the meet and facility record. She broke those at the East Regional 2 years ago here in Lexington.
Those two, not only training partners, they're very good friends, and they push each other to the limit.
Dejanay Oakley not being pushed much here in this fourth section.
Just look at how relaxed she looks.
A late charge. May not have won that section, really pulled up late. Only much slower than her world best time of 48.92. Can't wait to see these final results. Looked like Favor might have caught her at the line, and she did by 4/100ths of a second, but those top 3 are going to qualify into the quarterfinals nonetheless.
Yeah, and it's really more about what you do in the quarters, just making sure you get to Eugene. Oakley, though, so smooth over the first 200. She's worked so hard on her final 200. And what's crazy to think, when she transferred in from Texas, she was actually running the 200 a lot more at Texas.
So Oakley marches into the quarterfinals as her race for a national championship continues. A look back at the shot put from yesterday. Jarno Van Dalen finishing in 3rd place for the Florida Gators and punching his ticket to Eugene. Dylan Lambrecht of Penn State went out through a lifetime best, 64 feet 3 inches, to put up the 2nd best mark behind only this man, J.L. Van Rensburg. He's a bad man, 64 feet 5 inches. And he didn't even need to celebrate. He knew he had won that competition easily. These 12 are moving on to Eugene and will compete in the final of that discipline. 2 more sections to go in the women's 400 meters. 3 more AQ spots are on the line here in section number 5. Lane 6 is Braylon Baker of Duke, a 2-time ACC runner-up in the 400 meters, including this year outdoors.
Well, and even you think back to last year, she was actually 9th outdoors in the 400 hurdles at the NCAA championships, but has focused more this year on her flat 400. Her speed's really developed.
Think of someone notably like Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, who has made a similar transition this year. We've seen her run the 400 and set the world record.
And Baker does plan, they will go back to the hurdles in the fall, but her hurdle technique hasn't quite caught up with her speed yet.
And this section blown dead.
I mean, this is rare that you see a false start in the 400.
It really is. We've seen quite a few in the 100, the 200. Those hurdle events, you tend to see them as well.
We'll see if this, maybe this perhaps too could be a timing issue.
I had a really good conversation with one of the starters yesterday out by the track. They've got a difficult job.
So green card was issued, so typically that means it's a timing issue of some sort, or an issue with the gun starter.
On your mark.
So these 8 athletes will remain in the field. Failed to mention Jasmine Newberry of UCF has run the 16th fastest time in the country, a 2-time podium finisher in the 400 this year in the Big 12. You'll see her in lane 8.
Set.
Baker running out of lane 6. Kelly, I mentioned lane 8 a moment ago. Why are those outside lanes not as preferable?
Because you're pretty much running blind. You can't see what is going on in the lanes around you. Now, pay attention to Baker, because she's really been working on her speed reserve. So being able to hold back a little bit the first 200 so she can tap into that final 200 meters and really turn on the closing speed.
You're seeing some of that speed start to appear here as they head into the final turn. Those 2 competitors out in lane 8 and 9. That's Newberry and Franklin. They've won really nice races so far. Baker trying to make up some ground on this home stretch. Jasmine Newberry trying to hang on for that top spot, and she will. Skylar Franklin of LSU in the least preferred lane number 9. The freshman finds herself in 2nd.
Newberry, though, running a season best. All right, stand corrected, actually. She's run 51.17. I take that back.
A tie officially there to the 10th of a second. They'll go down to the 1,000th of a second to break that. Newberry just edging Franklin in 9.
But really closing strong over the last 50 meters. Making sure to stay relaxed, still has that knee drive high.
So 4 sections, rather 5 sections in the books here in the women's 400 meters as her teammates look on. Strong showing from Jasmine Newberry, and a look back at a showing from yesterday in the long jump. This was Tyler Nichols. 2nd place finish for him in the long jump. Florida and LSU each getting a qualifier. Greg Foster does what he does, qualifying to get to Eugene. He's a 7-time long jump champion in the Ivy Leagues. That's a program that for many years has dominated those Ivy outdoor programs. We talked to their head coach earlier this week, and he said that's a goal every year to win that meet.
No doubt, it's their #1 goal, frankly, but now Princeton's really starting to make some noise here at the regional and national meet even.
Final section of this 400 meters. Shaquita Foote of Georgia has run the 8th fastest time in the country. She has made 3 straight NCAA meets in the 400 meters. Has only made 1 final, though, in her career. She'll hope to change that here in the outdoor season.
It has really benefited, though. Transferred in from San Diego State, so has able to train with an elite group in practice every day.
So Alexia Smith there, runner-up in the Big Ten this season. number of lifetime bests in this field. You'll probably have to put up close to that to advance on time. Foot got out cleanly. She's got off well in lane number 6. Alexia Smith of Purdue running well out in 8 as they head into that penultimate turn.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with 8 and 9 right now.
Certainly not preferred by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, Smith and Donaldson, though, have done a nice job of not allowing the rest of the field to make up the stagger.
Foot has faded a little bit, needs to turn on the speed down this home stretch to qualify. Sydney Wright of Tennessee running well. Alexia Smith trying to win this one wire to wire, but Sydney Wright is not going to allow it. 26th best mark in the country this season. She'll not best that, but she will finish atop this section and secure her spot in the quarterfinals on Saturday. Wright, Smith, Donaldson, and Foot goes 52-29. I do not believe that's going to be good enough to qualify, so Queen of Foot, who'd run the 8th best time in the country, not in the competition anymore.
A little bit surprised, because Foot had been running so well this season, had really had a lot of consistent performances just under 51 seconds.
So certainly some disappointment there for Georgia.
Yeah, when we talked to Coach Carol Smith-Gilbert, she really felt like Foot was very close to breaking the 50-second barrier.
Janae Oakley came in with the best time in the world. She picks up the 3rd fastest time as she breezed to a 2nd place finish in heat number 4. Donaldson down in 25th, securing that AQ spot for Vanderbilt. SEC putting 5 in the top 9 heading into the quarterfinal round coming up on Saturday here in Lexington.
1691, Sasha Garnett of Penn State, 1688, Nia Crawford of Pittsburgh, 1688.
We move on to the 800 meters. The Muse mark from 2021, still the collegiate pass. The leader right now, Lauren Tolbert, has run 1:59.58. First of 6 sections here in the women's 800 meters, and we have 3 finalists from last year in the field. The top 5 this year as well. One of them is Janet Jepkemboy Amimo of Kentucky. She's runner-up in the 800 meters this season in outdoors.
Jepkemboy Amimo, one of 4 runners in this field to have gone sub 2 minutes. Coach Lonnie Green says, I think she can win it all. She was injured all indoor season, so she didn't compete. So he said she's just getting started. Got way fresher legs than pretty much everybody else in this field.
She'll look to use that here in this opening section. She'll have to best Haley Kitching of Penn State, who's going to race out of lane number 5 next to her. These athletes will race in lanes through the first 100 meters of this event before breaking to the pole position. Kitching, the champion outdoors in the Big Ten. All about positioning here in this first 100 meters before breaking to that pole spot on the backstretch.
And it's a gradual cut in once you do get to the pole. You want to make sure you're using the least possible energy as you cut in.
Jepkemboy Amimo doing just that. We'll have the lead heading into this turn on the backstretch. Behind her, Kamaya Haywood of Tennessee, who has the 27th best mark in the country this year. We've already seen some separation at the front of this field, Kelly.
Yeah, sure, and this is how Jepkemboy Amimo likes to run. She likes to front run. She's comfortable leading the pack. Coach Lonnie Green talked about, her goal, especially if she's able to punch her ticket to Eugene, is to be through 600 meters in 125 or 126, and she has that ability to close in a sub 30-second 200.
Just over 300 meters to go in this first of 6 sections.
But watch Kitching coming in here on the backstretch. This is exactly where you need to make your move. Doing a nice job trying to cover the move that Jepkemboy Amimo's made.
Kitching, a 3-time NCAA qualifier in the 800 meters, although the last time she did it outdoors was back in 2024. Nearly stride for stride with Jepkemboy Amimo, who's run the 2nd fastest time in the country this season. It'll be Kitchings with the lead as they make their way into the home stretch. Top 3 guaranteed a spots in the quarterfinal, and Jepkemboy Amimo not going to try to match Kitching,
there's
who
no
will win
need
him
to.
with ease.
As long as you're in the top 3, you're moving on.
They go under 2. It really is crazy the times that we see in the 800 meters these days, Kelly.
I mean, it's just come so far. It's so much faster than when I was running it in college.
You ran 2:04, 2:05 back in your day. You might have been a national champion.
Not 2:05, but probably, I mean, back when I was back, 20 years ago, 2:03. I'd have to go back and exactly look at the records. Probably 2:03, 2:04. That certainly would have gotten you there.
Maybe into a final.
Oh, definitely into a final.
Little mic drop right there for Kitching. Her job done for the day.
Yeah, we'll see what she comes back with on Saturday. Making sure that she is a household name in this field.
Moving on to section number 2. Told you earlier that Lauren Tolbert had the collegiate lead. I misspoke. Sanu Jallo of Arkansas does. Tolbert, though, had the collegiate lead earlier in the season. Before that was bested late in the year. She's a 3-time qualifier in the 800 meters.
Also runs on the Duke 4x4. And Coach Sean Wilburn said that the bigger the race, the better she is. They've been working a lot on her strategy. She went out a little bit too fast at the ACC championships, and it came back to bite her. So a little bit to clean up there, just managing a little bit early in the race.
She was 5th a season ago in the 800 meters. Judy Koske of Clemson in the field as well. It's the 12th best mark in the East region this season for the Tigers. And these athletes running their lanes for the first 100 meters of this 800 meter race before breaking to that pole position there at the cones. Lauren Tolbert with the early lead through the first 200. Top 3 in the women's 800 meters. Each of these sections will advance automatically to the quarters.
So we've seen a little bit of different strategy from what we saw yesterday in the men's field. We've seen through the first 2 heats, a couple of runners really separating themselves into a front 3, pushing the tempo.
Tolbert currently leading the field. Her teammate Bailey Goggins, who came in with the 30th best mark in the country, in 3rd at the moment. Judy Koske of Clemson in that front 3 as well. Slight glance over that right shoulder there for Tolbert.
For everybody else in the field not in the top 3, you got to go now.
That's what you're seeing from Jessica Edwards of Samford, running in that 4th spot. The section's gone out pretty fast as they make their way into this final 100 meters.
And not surprising, you heard, we talked to so many coaches, including distance coaches, that talked about you have to treat this first round as a final. No guarantees you're going to advance.
Section slightly off the pace of that opening section where Haley Kitching ran a lifetime best. Tolbert, Koske, and Goggins. Jessica Edwards got in there down the stretch. Goggins in 4:2:03:07. like her chances to qualify on time.
Yeah, and this is what we're talking about, turning it on with 200 to go. And a nice job of sneaking into that top 3, running through the line.
Four more sections to go in the women's 800 meters. The participants here in this third section that's upcoming. It's slow to clear the track in that second section, awaiting the athletes here for this third of 6 sections. There's a look at Jaden Hill of Vanderbilt, top 10 in the country this season in the 800 meters. Had a really nice outdoor meet at the SECs.
Finished 4th. She has the Vandy school record in the 800. Transferred in started her career at Cal.
She's going to run out of that lane 7 to start this 800 meter race. Next to her in 6 is Emma Sullivan of Kennesaw State. Sullivan is a 3-time Conference USA champ in the 800 meters, although reached the final at Outdoors this year down in Murfreesboro and did not start it. Looks good to go here in Lexington. Top time that we've seen through the first 2 sections is Haley Kitching at 1:59.60. She's the only to go under 2 so far. Kelly, much like we saw in the 1,500 meters earlier today, sometimes these first round sections aren't going to go out at the blistering speeds that we might see in the quarterfinals or later on in the postseason.
Oh, definitely, you're trying to conserve as much energy as you can while still ensuring that you're in the top 3 and into the next round. And especially with the 8, everybody in the 800 has some level of speed. So it just, you're gauging how elite is your closing speed, that foot speed, that you're going to turn on in the last anywhere from 50 to 150 meters.
Penn State, always known for their 800-meter runners, has Tayissa Buchanan leading this field for the moment.
I mean, affectionately known as 800U. It's just become a mid-distance powerhouse, really, over the last 15 years.
You've heard us throw that phrase out multiple times. You think about what Kentucky has done in the hurdles. I think there's a toss-up right now for that sprint side of things. Auburn in the mix, LSU, and some others. Florida. 250 meters to go in this third section of the 800.
Really from the 500 to 600 meter mark is really where moves start to get made in the 800.
Number of moves right here. Privilege.
Jaden
Chikanra
Hill
moving up into that third spot.
Jaden Hill taking control of this race, coming into that 200 left turn.
She's ahead by about a stride on Emma Sullivan of Kennesaw State. Here comes Chikanra of MTSU on the outside. Those two battled it out in Conference USA a week and a half ago, and they will go 1 and 2 here in heat number 3 of the 800 meters. Sullivan with the top time, Chikanra of MTSU in second, and Jaden Hill was able to hang on for third and secure the AQ spot.
But the first heat has definitely been the fastest so far.
So Sullivan, Chikanra, and Hill are through.
It is an advantage the later the heats you run, because you know the times that you have to beat if you're not going to be an automatic qualifier. And a nice job just running through the line and making sure that you're in that top 3.
So Kelly, the point that you just made a moment ago, as you approach some of these deeper heats, how does your mindset shift knowing the time that you probably need to get in?
If you are one of the top people in your heat, your mindset isn't necessarily shifting. It's just more if you are in and not projected to necessarily move on to the next round, that's when it can become really advantageous to know the time you have to beat. Somebody like a Layla Haynes is not going to have an issue qualifying. I mean, she's run sub 2 minutes this year. She's going to she just naturally is going to always be with that front pack. That's how she likes to run.
Haynes was in the quarterfinal outdoors a year ago for the Florida Gators, trying to make it back there. So is Adisa Rhoda of Mississippi State. The freshman has the 21st best mark in the country.
Haynes, though, set the school record at Florida, also broke the Barbados record when she ran that sub 2 minute 800. And she's had a pretty massive improvement. In talking with Coach Holloway, she came in as a 2:09 half miler, and to now be running sub 2 is a massive improvement.
Certainly that trajectory would speak to the fact that perhaps down the road she could find herself competing for a national championship in this event if that improvement continues.
Certainly will be in the conversation. And if you're able to go sub 2 minutes, you're definitely in the conversation for a national title.
Luke's Amber Wimbish very much in the conversation in a tightly bunched fourth section as they come to the start-finish line for the bell lap of the fourth section of the 800.
You're going to see Haynes start to make her move.
You generally see that with about 200 meters to go?
It just depends on the runner. I mean, Layla Haynes is somebody that likes to make her move sometimes a little bit early, so you might see her here from the 500-meter mark. She might make her move to the front.
Haynes working on the outside portion of your screen, wearing that 412 bib. Rhoda continuing to lead for Mississippi State. Here comes Haynes, bolting up into second place. Nice move on the outside.
Yeah, look at lane 2.
That's Maeve O'Neill of Providence. She's got her mind set on being in that top 3, displaying a really nice kick at the end of this section.
And a great strategy as well. Just biding her time back in the pack.
It'll be O'Neill, Rhoda, and Haynes who will pick up the AQ spots.
O'Neill really just showing off her closing speed there in the last about 150 meters.
A bit faster section there. O'Neill, 2:02.66. That'll be good for the 6th fastest times that we have seen through 4 sections. Haynes in, Rhoda in as well in 3rd. And Melvin could have a shot at a spot with 2 sections to go. Here's the 5th section, the women's 800 meters. Big Ten represented, the ACC heavily. There's Veronica Hargrave, who was 8th a season ago at the NCAA Outdoor Championships.
As the Indiana school record, both in the indoor and the outdoor 800. We mentioned the 4 females in this field that have gone sub 2. She is one of them.
Gabriella Grissom is going to race in lane number 7. Kelly, I've told you before, I'm a baseball guy, so I love this nugget that Evan Roberts, their SID, gave me. Her dad, his name was Marquise. He was the MLB steals leader in 1991 and 1992, so a ton of speed in the Grissom family.
Yeah, clearly. She's got a little bit more endurance, though, probably, than her dad.
Most likely. Baseball, you only got to go, what, 90 feet to steal? Grissom out well in this race. Now they make the break to the pole position here after the first 100 meters. I like what you're seeing from Chenille Clark-Giddings of Clemson early on as well, as she catapults herself up into that pole position.
Well, already this race is out a little bit slower, the first 200.
What makes you say that?
Just seeing the times and also just their strides.
More tightly bunched here as they head down this home stretch. Grissom, who we mentioned there on the inside portion of your screen. Veronica Hargrave, who came in as the pre-race favorite. Has about a 2-stride separation over the rest of the pack.
I mean, this is a smart move by Veronica Hargrave because this race went out pretty slow in the first 200 meters. She's taking control, making sure that it doesn't get too bunched up there. She's able to create a little bit of separation.
It's a nice edge right now, but the pack is coming. Andy Murray of Dartmouth trying to climb up into that top 3. Senior trying to reach the quarterfinal round. Hargrave running well. Grissom is faded. Does she have a late kick? This one has played out as a little bit slower of a section here with 100 meters to go. Here comes Grissom on the outside of your screen. Hargrave gonna cruise to a win. Grissom not gonna be able to get into that top 3 and most likely is not gonna be able to get through.
In that last 100 meters, Andy Murray, Dartmouth, with the big close there.
So Hargrave of Indiana, Bo Ritchie of Penn State, and Andy Murray are the 3 qualifiers. Gabrielle Grissom, 2:04.37, is going to get qualifying time on time.
This is really a race for second in this heat, making sure that you're trying to get into the top 3. Grissom just couldn't quite get there in time.
It does look like that time might be good enough to get her in. One more section remaining though. Chance to see an NCAA runner-up from a season ago in the form of Michaela Page. We'll get to her in a moment. This is Gladys Chenjedich of Clemson. Won the 800 meters indoors earlier this season.
And Chenjedich certainly going to be a major factor in this field. And coach calls her an immense talent. Just not only does she have range, but she can run different style of races as well.
You could give me a red card for jumping the gun there a moment ago. Here's Michaela Page, who was on the podium a season ago in Eugene, a second place finisher in the 800 meters. Running lanes through the first 100 of this race, and already some early inroads made by Michaela Page.
5 races, 15 automatics. 18 automatics and the 6-time qualifiers in a short moment.
Page jumping to the front of this pack. Chenjedich up there as well for Clemson.
And Chenjedich likes to sit and kick if she has that opportunity. So we'll probably sit on the shoulder of Page here for the next 200 to 300 meters.
Penn State's Allison Johnson in the mix at the moment. The Lions have already qualified too. Bo Ritchie in the previous section, and Haley Kitching, who ran the top time so far in this first round back in section number 1. The ACC flair at the front of this field here in the final section.
It's a pretty bunched up pack though right now. So this is really going to come down to foot speed over the last 150, even 50 meters left.
2 are from the ACC, the next 2 from the Big Ten. Comes a late move on the outside. Page and Chenjedich, stride for stride down this home stretch. Chenjedich pulling away late. Page is going to finish in second. Penn State going to take the 3rd spot. Was Allison Johnson. 2:03.13 For the reigning indoor champion, Gladys Ginetich of Clemson, Allison Johnson secures that final spot. Those will be the only three that will qualify out of this sixth and final section of the 800 meters. Kelly, what stood out in that event?
I mean, the first heat was significantly faster than the rest of the other 5 heats. So I'm just interested to see in the quarterfinals. We have a number 4 that have gone sub 2 minutes. So how much that continues into the quarters to try and punch your ticket to Eugene.
Get the sense you probably need to go sub 2 in the quarters to punch your ticket.
To ensure that you
and have a really good seed.
Yes.
Here's a look at the AQ spots.
And how about Haley Kitching too? Ran a personal best in that first heat. Add her to the sub 2 minute list.
Gabriella Grissom and Olivia Martin of Princeton will get the final 2 time qualifying.
Gaudy performances coming up over the next 2 events. The 400 hurdles, what a lot of people deem the toughest event on the track, and how appropriate too that it's at what's considered Hurdle U in Kentucky at in Lexington.
Yeah, 3 of the top 5 fastest in the country this year set to compete in the 400 hurdles. And then we've got the 200 meters coming up where 7 out of the top 10 in the country are here in Lexington.
Yeah, headlined by Hodge, the sensational freshman from Georgia.
She's already made her mark in these regions so far. Gearing up for this first section of the 400-meter hurdles. Akayla Garrett is in this field. She is the collegiate and world leader in the 400 hurdles this season. But in this first section, we get our first look at Fallon Spearman of Vanderbilt, who is set to race out of lane number 7, 18th fastest in the country this year, was a finalist outdoor at the SECs.
Started her career at Duke. She has a school record at Vanderbilt in both not only the 100 hurdles, but the 60 hurdles as well. We'll see if she can add the 400 hurdles to that list.
Her teammate Madison Wilson will race in lane number 6. Just missed the finals of the 400 hurdles at the SEC Outdoors. Was 10th in the prelims. Was a quarterfinalist in this discipline a year ago. Lane 8 is vacant. That was supposed to be Avery Clark of Ohio State. A really nice start out in lane number 7 for Fallon Spearman.
Yeah, already has made up the stagger.
Heading into the most important stretch of this 400 hurdles race.
You hear so many, when you ask athletes, hurdlers especially, what they're working on, so often you will hear hurdles 7 and 8. This turn is so tough, your body's starting to break down, and you're just trying to hang on through hurdles 9 and 10.
Your legs are screaming at you at this point of the race. Fallon Spearman, though, powering through that pain. 1 hurdle remains, and Spearman will win this section with ease. Vanderbilt's going to go 1 and 2. Is Wilson going to finish in second? The race is for third.
Massive PR for Spearman.
That's what this time of year is all about.
Almost a second PR.
55-37. Wilson in second at 56-42, also has a new lifetime best.
Well, and how special for Spearman being able to advance with her teammate from Vanderbilt. I mean, just got off to a tremendous start in this heat, and nobody was even able to get close to catching her.
The doors going 1 and 2.
Madison Wilson has to be ecstatic as well.
As we gear up for the second section of the 400 hurdles here in Lexington. Headliner in this section, Venice Karobo Nagisera of Kentucky, and the freshman has run the 4th fastest time in the country this year. Just missed her first career podium in the 400 meters outdoors.
Well, you talk about incredible range. Nagy Sarah, she was 5th indoors in the 800 meter. So that is a very interesting combination. That 800 strength is really going to come into play here in the 400 hurdles. It's how that she's been able to really focus on closing her races over the last 5 hurdles.
She will try to hold off a field that's very talented. 3 inside the top 40 in the country this year, including Michaela Walker of Cincinnati. Walker, a 2-time hurdle finalist in the Big 12 this season.
And Nagy Sarah, the big thing that she's been working on, she's going to be in lane 6, is those front 5 hurdles. They've been working those front 5 ad nauseum, getting off to a better start.
Kelly, perhaps we could see some big times in this event. 3 out of the top 4 in that previous section ran lifetime bests. Expected some speed in this 400 hurdles.
Well, I think this entire field knows that it is just a loaded field, so you are going to have to run a personal best if you want to make sure that you're going to advance.
No one in lane number 4. That was supposed to be Lindsey Johnson of Howard. She will not compete here in this second of 6 sections. Walker got out nicely in 7. Nagy Sarah with some work to do for Kentucky in lane number 6. Mia Woodruff of Howard has gotten off to a nice start in 5.
Really nice start.
Kayla Walker, incredibly impressive at the Big 12 Outdoors for Cincinnati. Has built quite the advantage at the front of this field. Is Nagy Sarah, known for that late kick, starting to turn it on here.
Yes, that final 200 meters for her, that is really her strong suit. That's where that 800 meter strength really starts to come on. She has that great endurance.
She was running about 5th or 6th place with about 200 meters to go. Now with a chance to hold on for the top spot. Harubo Nagy Sarah runs 55:42, continuing a theme of really fast times early on in this event.
And that's what's going to be scary for the rest of this field. If Nagy Sarah can really get those first 3 hurdles down and get off to a significantly better start, I mean, you're talking she could go into the 54s.
Kentucky women ranked inside the top 10 in the country in this week's poll.
The 800 meter strength and Nagy Sarah really coming out over hurdles 9 and 10, able to hold off the rest of the field. And this was after, frankly, not a very good start.
Like I said, she's running about 5th or 6th with about 200 meters to go before she came on strong to take that section. Halfway through women's 400 hurdles after the conclusion of this 3rd section. You see a returning finalist from a season ago in the form of Sanaya Hebron of Miami. She's gone 55-19 this year, and she has dominated the ACC over the last 3 seasons.
A 3-time ACC 400 meter hurdle champion. And she ran a new personal best at the ACC championship 2 weekends ago. She was 4th nationally outdoors last year at the national championships.
Trying to peak at the right time of year is Hebron. There's Elle Riley of Brown, reigning 400 hurdle champion in the Ivy League. First career title for her.
Well, especially for the more casual track viewers, I think a lot of people would be surprised to realize that, especially at the collegiate level, a lot of these women and men, frankly, are ambidextrous, which means that they can hurdle with either leg. Think of it like a switch hitter in baseball.
Certainly makes it a little bit easier as you get deeper into these races, because that step pattern not always as easy to maintain as your body gets more tired down the stretch.
Yeah, your steps are so important in that 100 meter hurdle race, where you have a lot less distance between the hurdles, but out here your stride pattern in the 400 hurdles is a huge thing, and that's why the ability to hurdle with either leg is crucial.
Gun sounding on section number 3. Top 3 in this section are going to advance automatically into the quarterfinals on Saturday. Like what you're seeing out of Arabella Wilson of Duke out in lane number 8.
They're really pushing Hebron right now in lane 7.
Hebron with some work to do, as does Elle Riley next to her in 4. Hebron making her move. She's going to have the lead by quite a few meters. Just has to get over this final hurdle. Alexandria Scott of Pittsburgh's charging well, trying to get into that top 3. She's going to finish in 2nd. Hebron of Miami gets it done in relative ease.
Really did a nice job of working the turn, hurdles 7 and 8. Able to create a little bit of separation.
Hebron, Scott, and Riley, the top 3 qualifiers, guaranteed a spot into the quarters.
But coming off of hurdle 9, already a pretty sizable lead for Sanaya Hebron, and then just powers her way all the way to the line.
An easy W for Hebron here. Her family's used to winning. Her dad, Vaughn, a 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Denver Broncos. 4th section, and a chance to introduce you to the current world leader in the 400 meters in the form of Akayla Garrett of South Carolina. Previously ran for Texas, now in Columbia. Finished on the podium a year ago in Eugene.
And part of the reason that Akayla Garrett came to South Carolina and transferred in is she wanted to be a dual hurdler. She also wanted to be able to run the 100 hurdles. Now this season outdoors, she's really focusing on the long hurdles for nationals. But she's a perfect example of a hurdler that is ambidextrous. She can use either legs and do it very efficiently.
Garrett was 4th at the USA Championships last summer, just missed a spot on the Team USA roster at the World Championships in September. There's Judy Elful of Memphis, top 35 in the country this year. 2-time podium finisher in the American, including a title this year in Denton.
Garrett lane 6 has really been working on her flat speed, especially at the 400. Has been on some relay squads as well. One
of the most challenging events on the track, the 400 hurdles in the 4th section. Starts momentarily. Nice start from Judy Elful out in lane number 7. Garrett with some work to do in 6. Already closing on those front 3 as that speed really starts to show up on this backstretch.
How about Layla Payne from Princeton in lane 5, also pushing Garrett right now, though she just hit a hurdle, and actually she may end up getting disqualified there because it looked like she went into lane 4.
Stutter stepped into that adjoining lane.
Garrett really, her focus working hurdles 7 and 8 coming off this turn so she can come off of hurdle 8 and get on home.
Trying to put up another massive time. Garrett already the fastest time in the world this year. She's gonna get close to that mark here if she finishes well. She'll be just off of it. 55.99, about 2 seconds slower than her world-leading time set back on May 14th at the SEC Outdoors. And an easy win for one of the best in the world this season.
Garrett really doing a nice job working that turn. It's been the focus here in the latter part of the season. Came on very strong with about 150 meters left. We mentioned that Princeton had been running very well right here, but clips the hurdle, and see how she steps that left foot into lane 4? That could be grounds for a disqualification. Layla Payne, just a freshman, and she was running very well to that point. Then you see Garrett just so strong the latter half of this 400 hurdle race. That's where that flat 400 meter speed has really come in.
And largely scratch in that 4th section. Garrett, Elfel, and Allen came in with the 3 best times in that section. They finish in the top 3 as we move on to the second to last section of the 400 hurdles. Naya Billups of Howard, 22nd best in the country this year, won the 400 hurdles in the MEAC this year. She was a quarterfinalist down in Jacksonville a season ago at the East Region meet. Kendall Harrington Spain of South Carolina will race out of lane number 8. The freshman has had a really nice opening salvo of her career. Finalist at the SEC Outdoors. Took 9th. They have 9 participate in that event at the SECs. She's going to race out of lane number 8. Added points for hairstyle, maybe, Kelly?
Yeah. Easy to spot.
Second to last section. Full field. Top 3 are going to advance automatically to the quarter round. Final participants in this 400 hurdles in the opening round, waiting off to the right side. Their chance to take the track for the first time here in Lexington. Final preparations taking place on the track.
Well, Sanaya Howard a chance to really make a statement too, as both the 100 hurdles and the 400 hurdles really dominated by Power 4 schools. So trying to be able to advance to the quarterfinals.
Seeking her second straight quarterfinal is Billups in lane 5. Final time qualifying spot at the moment is 58:39 by Aduna Vanals of Elon with 2 sections to go. Harrington Spain of South Carolina running well out in 8 early in this race, as is Kibi Mumbinti of Western Michigan.
Billups off to a good start in lane 5.
Billups coming in just outside the top 20 collegiately this year. Look at the lead that Harrington Spain has built up on the outside of this track, although it can be a little bit deceptive with this big curve as Billups works her way back into the mix. Billups got off to a little bit of a slow start, but really has turned it on down the stretch, and she's going to win this one by about 10 meters over Kendall Harrington Spain.
Yeah, really steady and pretty even for Billups throughout. Got off to a good start and then able just to sustain that all the way through the turn and into hurdles 9 and 10.
5th fastest time for her. Reese Sanders in 4th. Kelly, you and I had a really nice conversation with her yesterday.
Sure did, and you're going to see, so we talked about that a lot of these hurdlers at the collegiate level are ambidextrous, but typically when you get to hurdles 9 and 10, even sometimes 8, you're going back to your dominant leg on that hurdle.
Sanders told us yesterday she's an aspiring sports broadcaster once her track career comes to an end. Really enjoyed that conversation with her. Certainly wish her best of luck. Sixth and final section of the 400 hurdles. And a chance to see a podium finisher from a year ago in the form of Michelle Smith of Georgia in lane number 6. She's run the second fastest time to Garrett, who we saw participate early on in this first round. She will race out of lane number 6.
And we talked about, you know, a couple other hurdlers in this field have that 800-meter strength. That is something Michelle Smith has. She was 8th rather in the indoor 800-meter. So really built up that strength indoors in the 800. And what Georgia and Coach Carol Smith-Gilbert and her coaching staff have been tinkering with Michelle Smith on is her stride pattern. She's improved her speed, but have really focused on trying to take 15 steps between hurdles all the way through hurdle 7, and then coming home on 8, 9, and 10, you're going back to that dominant hurdle leg.
And if there was someone that could challenge her, Sydney Green would be that individual. Sydney Green largely been in the shadow of one Savannah Sutherland. If you haven't heard of her, she's the current collegiate meet and facility record holder in this event, was the national champion last year. Green was runner-up twice to her a season ago. Now running as the top 400 hurdler on the Michigan squad this season. He will race out of lane 5, Smith in 6. Zuriel Reed could factor into that top 3 as well for Auburn in 7. The early start from Michelle Smith in lane number 6. Nearly a fall there, Kelly. Look at Smith blow up that stagger on the backstretch.
The one good thing about if you hit a hurdle in the 400 hurdles, you have time to recover.
Not as much in that 100 hurdle. That can spell disaster. Michelle Smith has a sizable lead at the moment. Sydney Green trying to finish in that top 3 once again. Smith gonna win this with relative ease. The battle is for second. An easy W for Smith. Green gonna come across in second, and we mentioned Zuriel Reed. She finishes in 3rd for Auburn to punch her ticket to the quarterfinals.
Michelle Smith, one of just a handful of women in this 400 field that have broken 55 seconds this season.
Lions got a nice start in 6. Fairly even on the stagger. Maybe some inroads being made by Reese Webster of Auburn down in lane 3.
Here comes Howard, or Lions, I should say.
And an easy win at the line in this first section of the 200 meters as Yanari Lyons gets one step closer to a trip to Eugene.
Great closing speed from Yanari Lyons. Came off that curve like a gangbuster and then just powering her way through the line.
Kaya Epps in 2nd.
Look at her just pull away from this field. Great top end speed to close out the 200.
It's a nice win for Lyons as she secures her spots into the quarterfinal. Epps will make her 2nd straight quarterfinal appearance. As we move on to section number 2, you see lane number 6, it is vacant. That was supposed to be Kelly Ufadiyama of East Carolina. She's been one of the premier 200 runners in the country over the last couple of seasons, but injured in the 100-meter final at the American Outdoors a week and a half ago, and chose not to compete this week?
Well, if it was her choice, she probably would have competed, but I talked to Coach Givens earlier today, and she just, she's not close enough to 100%. He made the decision last night to hold her out of both the 100 and the 200 today. Certainly she's disappointed about it, but he was looking out for her long-term health, and she's one of the great young sprinters at the collegiate level, has a lot of good things to come, so we certainly wish her well in her recovery.
She's won 7 straight titles in the American. Most likely would have won her 8th had she been able to run the 200-meter final. There's Alexis Brown, who's done a lot of winning in her career. 2-time NCAA champion at the Division II level during her career at Lenore Ryan, now running for South Carolina.
Coach Hall said she's an absolute talent. Sometimes she puts too much pressure on herself. She lets the nerves get to her. That's something they've been really working on, is the mental side.
Brown qualifying for the 100-meter final earlier today, trying to make it 2 for 2 in quarterfinal trips. Absence of Ufudiyama looming large. This field suddenly wide open with 3 guaranteed spots into the quarterfinals on the line. Alexis Brown, who came into this section as a heavy favorite, running a strong early portion of the race.
Really nice start by Brown. Running with a lot of confidence right now, coming off this turn.
She will have to hold off Pachneli Compare of Ole Miss. And she will do that. An easy W for Alexis Brown, and another step forward on the road to Eugene for the South Carolina senior.
Well, South Carolina coaches have really worked with Alexis Brown and just really understanding that she belongs at this level, making the transition from Division II, where she was a national champion, to the SEC, got off to a great start in this race, and then was just able to put it in cruise control really for the last 70 meters.
She wins. Compare of Ole Miss comes in second, and some kudos to Brianna Clayton, who finishes in third and advances. She won the 200 meters at the American Outdoors in the absence of Kelly Ufudiyama, her teammate.
Well, Coach Givens will be very excited to see her advance. She's closing out her career as a Pirate, and he was hoping it was going to be a strong close to it. She's had an up and down season dating back to indoors, but peaking at the right time.
Moving on now to this third section, and a chance to see the current #1 seed in the NCAA, Adaja Hodge, who we already saw put up a big time in the 100 meters earlier. She will race out of lane number 7.
The 200 is Hodge's favorite event right now. And interestingly enough, her roommate is Dejanay Oakley, the great 400-meter runner at Georgia, and they credit each other with the record performances they have had this year to being roommates, and very encouraging of each other.
Call that room an embarrassment of riches.
Yes.
Hodge has run the 4th fastest time in the world this year in the 200 meters. She's a 2-time SEC champion. There's a look at Mary Eloise LeClaire of Penn State. D2 transfer from Simon Fraser, was 3rd a season ago at the indoors at the Division II level in the 200-meter race on the short track.
Now remember, with Hodge, they've really been working on her start.
Hodge a favorite to win it all in Eugene, racing out of lane number 7 here in Lexington. And Hodge pays off all that hard work with an excellent start.
Took all of about 15 meters to grab the lead.
She will take a lead into the final 100, and that lead is growing. 4th fastest in the world during the regular season. She shuts it down and still wins by about 15 meters. Adaja Hodge is a force to be reckoned with.
This is a loaded field. I mean, you look at Hodge, Coming up in this next heat, we have Jamesia Ford from South Carolina. Could have a showdown coming up in the quarters.
Please.
Hodge just built such a big lead, even well before she got to the turn. It all started with that start that she's been working on so hard with the Georgia coaching staff, and then that allows her to really turn on the cruise control and shut it down early.
So Hodge through in style into the quarterfinals. You'll see her race again on Saturday. Here in heat number 4, we have the reigning NCAA champion in the 200 meters. That's Jamesia Ford of South Carolina. Won this event a year ago in Eugene, then went on to place 8th at the USA Championships. This year, she's run the 6th fastest 200 meter in the world.
Ford is really focused this year too in her training. She's been running a lot more 400s, not necessarily for the strength part of it, although that helps. It's been more from the mental side of it, said Coach Hall. And he really says that Ford, she's one of the 1%ers out there. Just so elite. She's been able to, she's had to really not only find her superstar status at 18 years of age, but she's had to maintain it, and she's just found a very quick maturity at the college level.
She has consistently been one of the best runners in the country in recent seasons. DeAndronique Gaines of Florida A&M, set to race out of lane number 5. She swept every short sprint event in the SWAC this season, the 60, the 200 indoors, 100, 200 outdoors. She'll race in the lane adjacent to the reigning NCAA champion, Jamesia Ford of South Carolina.
Jamesia Ford just got elite top-end speed, but they've been working diligently on her start.
Similar to Hodge in the previous section, we saw her get off to a great start. Can Ford get off on the right foot as she eyes a second straight trip to Eugene? Ford out cleanly in lane number 6. She's being pushed though in those outer lanes and on the inside from Gaines, but has a lead here.
That lead continues to grow, turning on the jets on that top end speed.
Much like Hodge, she shuts it down at the end and picks up an easy win. National champion last year. All good so far here in Lexington. Wins it by about half a second over Gaines. Layla Campbell of Ohio State comes in 3rd to pick up the AQ spot.
The start has been the focus of Jamesia Ford's 200, and she's at her best through the first 15 to 20 meters. Then when she's really able to work that acceleration phase, that lift coming off the turn, Coach Hall said it's like poetry in motion.
Two sections remain in this star-studded field of the 200 meters. Top 3 of these 8 are going to advance to the quarterfinals on Saturday. And the star standing out in this section, LSU's Shanti Jackson, who's run the 5th fastest time in the country this season and just missed a title in the 200 meters at the SEC Outdoors.
She's solid all the way through this 200, a good starter. She's good in her acceleration phase, and then her top end speed is exceptional, but has really benefited from coming in, transferring in, had a pre-existing relationship dating back to high school with Coach Shaver.
Anaya Bigham, her teammate, could challenge out in lane number 8. She's been to 2 straight NCAA outdoor semifinals. Saw her running the 100 earlier today. The 200 is her better event. Vault started in the SEC final. Probably see her run a little bit angry here in this first round after that mistake.
Chance to get a little redemption here.
Getting set to move one step closer in the journey for a number of these athletes. Penultimate section of the 200 meters. Jackson in 5, Bigham in 8, the favorites.
Great start for Jackson.
Out of those blocks like a missile and has already blown up the stagger. Bigham's running well, out in lane number 8 as well. Jasani Carter of Georgia putting together a nice performance. And it will be all SEC in the top 3 of this 5th section. LSU gets 2 of the top 3 spots. And Jasani Carter puts together a really nice race for 2nd here in section 5.
Shanti Jackson, lane 5, she had the best start of anybody I have seen today in the 200. Just exploded out of those blocks. Was able to create so much separation, she just could coast in to the line.
So Jackson marches on here in Lexington. One final section of the 200 meters. 3 more automatic qualifying spots on the line here. Gabby Matthews of Florida has already qualified in the 100 meters into the quarterfinals. Now we'll try to do that here in the 200 meters. She's run the 8th fastest time and was a runner-up indoors in the 200.
And Matthews really a senior who has put in the work at Florida. Coach Holloway really talked about it. When you talk to him, he says it's stacking days, stacking workouts, just consistency. He said they take, for those of you old enough to know the movie Karate Kid, he said it's the Mr. Miyagi approach, wax on, wax off.
Really a throwback right there, right?
Yeah. I mean, Gabby Matthews and these athletes competing today, they may not even know what Karate Kid is.
There's Kayla Jackson of Georgia, a 4-time SEC indoor and outdoor finalist in this discipline.
On your mark.
Yeah, I think to your point, Kelly, a number of people these days probably think of Cobra Kai on Netflix, right? Similar ideas, wax on, wax off. Final section of the women's 200 meters. Heavy SEC flair once again in this event. Need to be better than 23-23. Another clean start in the women's 200 meters. Kayla Jackson running really well right now in lane number 7. She's going to have the lead with 100 meters to go.
Here comes Matthews.
Those two are going to finish tightly at the line. Look like Kayla Jackson had Gabby Matthews by a step. Both of them are going to a final 22:59. That'll be good for the 5th fastest time for Kayla Jackson. Matthews just behind. Smith of LSU gets the AQ spot.
And a nice job, Jackson getting off to a strong start to give her some breathing room. Matthews closing hard on that last 30 meters.
So our quarterfinal is set. The 10K looming. The patrons growing a bit antsy here in